So before I start what we do and how I have landed up here, I just want to tell you that today, have a completely open mind. I'm just going to take you to different phases I have seen in the outdoors and I've seen with animals, and you can take a decision on where you would want to belong. Yeah, I think as animal lovers, this is something which I've always, every time I meet an animal lover or I meet a young kid who wants to get into the outdoors and wildlife, the parents are there with me. Usually these situations is always so confusing for me, for him, because animal lover, wildlife, all of these is a very, very large subjects which has at least hundreds of subcategories in it. Okay, I'm a high school dropout. I have a lot of certificates. I've got 8 TCs from different schools. Not even kidding. I have 8 transfer, and trust me, every time I've gone to apply for a job and I've done my courses in herpetology, all of that, they're like, okay, what is it? Then I say, I have 8 TCs, I've been hired. So it's really, really worked for me. Do you know Devegoda petrol bunk, very close to Bangalore? The next signal of Devegoda petrol bunk, there's a bus stand called Mini Zoo Bus Stop. Everybody is confused, what is this Mini Zoo bus stop doing there? But there was a legend living there. His name was MK Srinath, right behind the Kidney Foundation, and he had 2 lion cubs at home. That's where my journey actually started off. And we were all in 5th or 6th grade. And when I met MK Srinath, he was already in his 60, 62. He was the WWF director. And we were all in school and we were like, oh, he works with the wrestling company for almost 3 years. We thought somebody from the WF wrestling company is there. And one day we saw the whole National Geographic, everybody in front of his house because of the lion cubs. And that's how my journey started. We'll talk more about it. Just to understand, can we have a quick match the following? Let's go to the classroom environment. Let's see how many of you would put what. So I have a bag full of puppies. Where do they go? Oh, lovely. I have a bag full of snakes. Where do they go? Temples, okay. I have exotic animals. Where would they go? Wow. Invasive animals, where would it go? Huh? Nice road. Okay, great. We have hens. Where do they go? Biryani. Okay, we have monkeys. What happens to them? Forest. Monkeys go to nice road, okay. Pigeons? Euthanasia. Lovely, lovely. Elephants? Kerala temple. So everything is finally reaching up to a temple, is it? I get most of the match falling going into temple, safe and sound. As this was such a fun exercise, I have been put into these situations where there's a bunch of people holding on with a bunch of puppies and asking me what to do. I've been in a situation where we have a bunch, and when I say bunch, I had 220 red-eared sliders, which are invasive, which are all the way from South America, and we have got all of them, and everybody is like, what to do about it? But anyway, do you understand? Looking at the match the following right now, we just figured out. But imagine you being in that situation, surrounded with those animals, and now you need to take a call. Because you are representing this organization, or you are mad enough to go rescue these animals, or you have initiated something where you have landed up in that situation. Okay, so I'm going to talk about more of those situations. These are some of the core areas I've actually worked with in the last few years. Rescue and rehabilitation, domestic and exotic animals, wildlife research, captive management, table meat, wildlife conservation. And I think these are all just fancy words. This was my first rescue. That's the largest venomous snake found in India. It's a king cobra. In fact, my bag was so small that I couldn't push the snake completely into the bag. Okay, so that was a king cobra. It was 11.5 feet king cobra. I worked with king cobras all my life. Oh, this is a very interesting story. That's actually a snake coming out of the eggs, you know. You know where was the shot? Which national park? Yeah? No, this is actually on my table and that's my curtain at the back. It was on a table like this. Yeah? So I have sat on those eggs for 60 days to incubate them. And every year we get about 200 eggs which we have to sit on and give them the right temperature, right humidity to incubate them. This was in 2009 or 10. For the first time in BBMP control room, a phone rang saying, "Sir, Gudli Puja Madavag motte sikputide." You know, they were doing some earthwork and they found some eggs and adu havin motte. She knew it was a snake egg, so she said, "Can you come and rescue it?" So for the first time in 2009, we got a call to rescue eggs, you know. So we were all excited. We went in, we picked up, and we didn't know what eggs they were. And I think I had about 32, 33 eggs. And now again the research starts. How are we going to sit on it? Do we have a murgi? Do we get an incubator? Who's the person working with incubators in India? Then we look at Brinzi. Brinzi is a company in Germany who makes incubators for eggs. So we write them, "Oh, we are from an NGO. We want to support all of this. Can you say?" Yeah, it's about 35 lakhs. I said, "What?" There's zero data where I can call somebody and say, "Hey, I found eggs, what do we do with it?" Nobody knows. And when I say nobody, we are talking to the leading people in India. We talked to Madras Crocodile Bank, we had TSA on board, we had PFA, we had the Mr. Salim Ahmad, who used to run WRRC on board. So finally Sal said, "Listen, they just need 90% humidity and 30% of temperature, and I think that's your room temperature usually in Bangalore. You just need to increase humidity. Let's see, instead of spending lakhs of rupees, put it in a corner, let's work on." So we created one big room, just kept that eggs in the side, and we used to spray and have these hydrometers and increase. 65 days they hatched. And they were cobras. And then we just started getting, it was the most successful story, and every year I've sat on 400 eggs, 450 eggs, 500 eggs. So I had a room full of cobras. And now where are we getting these eggs from? Empty plots and sites which is getting developed. So the mother has chosen the right spot to lay her egg. We rescue it. I'm in all the papers possible because, you know, you're having 30, 40 cobras. And now at night we have to go quietly to release them. Otherwise you're going to get thulped by the government, okay? We have had that situation. I rescued one rat snake, 100 people, everything done. Then I take the bike and I'm going and releasing by the lake, and I had 4 aunties just come around me and said, "Walkers Association alli neevu how bidtadira?" They called the cops on me. By the way, that is a cow. This was a very close. I've rescued 9 leopards, and each one of them is a crazy story, okay? I'm going to tell you the recent one. I think this was, 3-4 months back? Yeah, 3-4 months back this was. And this is right outside my farm in the parking lot. So we saw this leopard 4 years back in our camera trap. And we made a decision at Prani saying we will not tell any of the farmers that there's a leopard here. Otherwise, it's going to be trouble. So for 3 years, it was all hush-hush and quiet. Suddenly, one afternoon, I hear one of my farmers running at 11 saying, "Kurki banbittide." I said, "What is kurki?" "Gullenari." I said, "What is gullenari?" "I don't know, sir. Something has come and put my cow down." So he's taken a 40,000 rupees loan on this cow. The cow is on insurance. His only source of money is he has to get up in the morning, milk, get that 5-6 liter, go put it in the Hal dairy and gets that 200 and 300 rupees, and that's the only chunk of money he makes, our Narayanappa, milkman. And he's saying, "My cow's flat, fallen down. Can you get your vet?" So Akshay and a couple of people went in. And how is the cow fallen down? Then we went and we see the jugular veins completely punctured. It was complete. We immediately got to know it's definitely a predatory attack. You know, it's not something which has happened. And we knew this is the same leopard which we've been seeing is finally showcased. Now I told him, "What did you see?" "Gulle nari is not a nari. It's actually a leopard and is pretty big enough. They're not hyenas or jackals. What do you want to do?" He said, "Don't do anything. I have a solution. 400 rupees you give me, I'll go get a pesticide. We'll put it over the cow. The leopard's going to come in the next few minutes, eat up the cow, and it's going to be dead so that you will have all your prani animals safe. Otherwise, the guy is going to enter your farm. Okay, so now how do you handle this situation? Now you need to understand the law. So we got into the law. I called a couple of RFOs saying, I really need to help this guy. He said, okay, there is a law where if the attack has happened on his farmland, they will give him 15% subsidy. So at least from 45,000, he'll get some 10, 15,000 subsidy. So I said, we'll do it. But where is this land? He's taken the cow and let it graze in the Gomala land. That is your forest area. So there, if the attack happens, the forest department will say, no, we are not going to give you any money. Correct? So then we had to tie the cow, drag it, go to a neighbor's farm, call that owner and said, man, this kill happened in your land. So we dragged the cow, then we called the veterinarian saying the leopard, killed it here, then dragged the whole cow, bought it here. Then he was also smiling at me. I said, please do something. Then he put a predatory attack saying, okay, it happened here. Then we take it, go to the DCF. She's like, okay, you submit it. Deepika Vajpayee, she said, you submit it and it will come. It will take about, within the first financial year, we will transfer him the money. And how much is that? 15,000 rupees. So now again, we were like, wait, we will help you out. So we raised some funds, about 10,000 rupees, gave it. Then I spoke to the DCF saying it's a very crazy situation. If I don't do it, they're going to poison. Can you please help? She said, okay, Sanjeev, because you've been bothering, I'll pay my 15,000 to him. And when it comes to his account, it's your duty for him to transfer it back. Then there were more than 500, 600 people. Finally, they said, let's bury it. He said, no. If the kill is made, let it at least eat it. Why? What's the point of burying it? Went again to a suitable habitat, threw the cow there, and Akshay, Deepak and all went at night to set up a camera. There's two dogs eating it. So they were like, hey, the dogs are there, the dogs are there. They went in and the leopard stood up. There was not one, there were two leopards. And he was like, what? And then we come back to the bike and sit back. So this is Prani, this is right outside Prani, and there's a 4 months back story. So while we did all of it, this is such a beautiful success story, correct? 2 months later, there was a dead female leopard poisoned. The same one. It was just the other side of the hill. So what are we doing now? Was the capture the right thing to do? Do you think I should have captured it? Oh, this is my favorite story especially. I was there and this is my first job after getting kicked out of schools and stuff like that in BBMP, and I was given the opportunity to handle phone calls. Okay, so I'll be sitting and there'll be some 15 phones and there'll be 4 of us sitting trying to handle phone calls. Sir, bulb hotogide, the water is not coming, all of it. So that I have to pass it on to somebody. If somebody says dog, cow, snake, then the call comes to me. I'll have to figure out which volunteer is there in which area. So then I just got a call. I picked up the call and one lady is screaming, "Sir, dinosaur banbitide." I said, "What? Dinosaur? Are you serious? Like, elli ma? Dodudala, baby, Mari." So I called Spurti, one legend character who been a mentor. So I said, "Spurti, dinosaur man." "Oh yeah, okay, go catch it." But then again the phone starts ringing. You pick up, "Sir, nani Yalanka police station inda navalla guns alla tagombandu ready agidivi. Neevu yavag bartira?" He's got guns and he's ready. And he's saying, "When are you going to come?" On the way, I've been getting calls after calls after calls. And finally, I said that I'm not going to take any equipment. I'm at least going to go see this dinosaur, forget catching it. Let me just go see before it runs away. That was the situation. We landed up there. And this lady was a fit lady who was a mason working in a construction site. And they build the small rooms to keep their cement bags, the temporary rooms. Okay. And everybody is there. And that room doesn't have a light, nothing. It's been 6:30, 7 o'clock already. So we were like, what are we going to do there? Oh, finally, they saw me. Are you going to catch the dinosaur? They thought some full team, army guys are going to come. They've called 100 control room. And we were all like kids, 4 kids and our driver. And now this lady, I went and said, okay, dinosaur nodak hengittu. First question, you need to figure out, what is there? I have no clue. She said it was big and it had claws about this big. So now I'm like, dude, there are 1,000 people and this lady is seeing claws this big. She must be seeing a dinosaur, right? Now I'm fully confused. And I'm scared, okay? So I went slowly, opened the door. I can only see cement bags. Then I could see these beautiful patterned paw patterns, and it was literally a triangle, something like this. And then one small. What do you think it could be? This was the craziest rescue. I went, removed with my snake hook, we moved one of the cement bags, and I could see scales, white scales, each scales this big, overlapped. It's definitely a mammal. Very close, you're right. Next picture, please. It was a pangolin. Did you guys know pangolins, which is so super rare in the world, are there in Lal Bagh and Kabban Park? Are there in Kaglipura? Are there in Art of Living Ashram? Are there in Malleshwaram? This was the first time Bangalore had ever seen a pangolin. And these are anteaters, and when I saw, I still have my goosebumps, I saw, look at these scales, what do you think this could be? Look at these nails. The lady was absolutely right, okay? And what is it called in Kannada? Chippina handi, okay? So for the first time, Schedule 1 species, IUCN Red List specimen, is there in a cement bag. Spooty called up, man, you got gold. You wear your best feathers tomorrow, come to the NGO, I have arranged for a press meet. Everybody is going to be there, you're going to be in the media. I was flying, came back, released, went back to my organization. We had an enclosure, released him, locked it up. I had the keys with me, went back home, slept, got up next day morning, put my best clothes out, came back, full media guys are there. We're like, yeah, I'll go get the pangolin. And I opened, that guy's not there. Dude, it didn't hit me that they can dig up and escape. So from the enclosure, all I could see is one hole. And the whole TV9, everybody. And then I was like, Shikes calls Purti, man, it's gone. Oh, what time did you release? About 8 o'clock last night. It was gone about 8-9 feet. Dig it up, you'll find him. So we sat, dug up, pulled him out. And I have a picture like a poacher holding there. It's so like, like I've just shot. Another story, Color Halli in the airport. That was also a very recent story which we got. So we were all excited. We rushed up all of that. Iguanas, man, there were some 300, 400 iguanas, baby iguanas. And you know what they do? They wrap up both their legs with a sellotape. Okay, so these guys don't move. I also worked with the US Fishery Department on illegal wildlife trading, things coming from India to America, America to India. These guys are so smart. Tortoise and turtles, they hold a tortoise, wrap it up with sellotape, they'll put it in the suitcase if it is not more, 4 or 5. Just before it has to go to the check-in, they drop the suitcase. So what happens to these animals? They go into a shock and they go in, they don't move for a while. That's when they send it to the X-ray machine. So when you go, it will just look like one object, because usually your X-ray is looking at heavy metals, right? You're not looking at something light. You're not looking for an animal. You're looking at guns, bombs. So it's always heavy metal. Indian star tortoise in India is 500 rupees. The same thing, if I take it to America, it's about $500. Okay, so if I take 2, it's $1,000. You understand? It's a eye candy for anybody. And now in Nepal, they send about 500. Why will that person ever stop that business? This is another thing. I'm just moving from rescue. We went into exotic animals. Now I'm come to domestic and exotic animals. All my life for 10 years, I worked with Forest Department, all the organization where we primarily worked on native animals, urban wildlife, Indian animals, something which is going to support us. Suddenly I got a call. And these 2 calls actually changed my life. One of that calls was, I built India's biggest walk-in aviary, standing 160 feet tall. I mean, nobody would have, even now I can't convince somebody to spend 20 crores on me because I want to build an aviary. But SL World, the Z owners, have you guys heard of SL World in Bombay? So for the first time, my biggest bill I've ever made was with them, where it was all exotic animals. All exotic animals. So I was just wondering, hey, for 10 years I've gone to aquariums, I've gone to all these guys, stopped fish smuggling, I've stopped coral smuggling, I've done all of this. Now suddenly, how come the world, people like SL World wants to get into this? That's when we started working on the laws and stuff like that. Do you know it's legal in India to keep any exotic animals? And the law was passed 2 years back during COVID. And the law was also passed for somebody very dedicated. I'll also tell you, India is going to come up with the world's biggest zoo. And I'm not talking about in the future, in the next 2 years. It's already been set up in Gujarat, 380 acres. They've got, why do you think cheetahs came into India? Something is fishy, no? I got calls to handle all of this. How? Both sides I'm getting calls from the forest department. Man, there's a nuisance. Can you do something? Kadak. Then my aquarium friends will call. Man, we've got a crazy project. We have to shift kangaroos from Australia all the way to Gujarat, and flights taken care of. Everything is taken care of. You have to make sure it doesn't escape. You have to work with all the papers. Completely legal. What will you choose? I am just an animal lover. I want to run behind animals, catch them, feed them, take care of them. I don't have money to go to Australia and see kangaroos and spend time with it. If my friend is calling me and saying, come, let's spend time with kangaroos, you think I should go or not go? Legally. How did it become legal? 10 years we have been struggling, opening NGOs saying no exotic animals, no pet animals, and suddenly India has come up with an app which you all can download right now. Just Google Parivartan. Just somebody open Parivartan, environmental app, whatever animal you want, there is a clearance which is made online. Now I don't know, should I work for an organization where 80% of the time I am climbing trees and catching crows stuck in manjadaras, or take a flight, go to Gujarat and handle kangaroos and giraffes and anacondas. And here, after rescuing that crow also, I'll have to spend 2 days trying to raise funds. 500 rupees kottpadi sir, adi koota hakbeku. 500 rupees. There they'll pay me 5 lakh rupees for 2 days just to give my ideas and come back. So now whatever, and there is no subject called captive management in India. Do you know that? There is no subject called captive management. So who's running the zoo? On what behalf is somebody running the zoo when there is no subject called captive management? I'll get back. This is a monitor lizard which I worked, and this is for you to also, I'm showing it that this is very, very cool that we trained a monitor lizard to do more than 8 to 9 commands. Dino, come, sit, stand, come over me, go back. So all our life we have sieved Indian monitor lizards, somebody eating them, selling them, all of that. And suddenly I get a call to handle savanna monitors all the way from Africa, to train them, to keep them healthy, to make sure you do trust building. So I'm very confused. That is exotic. Next, if you come into domestic, another situation, this was also very recently in Puttenalli. I had created a chaos with the whole fire department were with us. Look at that. I broke a wall. Can you see that? 2 guys have brothers, whatever, land issues, land dispute. They have put a compound which is like this. It's not parallel. You know, it's bottleneck. So the cow's gone here and got stuck. So people and kids have gone and pushed it from the back. So his hip got locked. And this is a brand new house, first floor. This is his basement. So now whose house shall I break? If I go, he said, Aur mane muriri. If I go there, no, you break his house. So I basically said, I'm going to break both you guys' house. You call the cops, do what you want. We got a jackhammer and started breaking the building. Okay, so we said, okay, we're going to break so much and push the hip, and then I'll apply oil throughout the wall, I'll apply grease, and we'll pull the, cow back. We tried breaking, the hip's not coming. Finally, there is 6 inches for the hip to come up. There's a huge column. That's your beam with metal. You can't even break that. Now, the owner of the cow is not there. So now in these situations, we really don't know what is that we need to do. Should we blame the owner for leaving the cow outside in the city? Or this guy to build a wall like this? And now everybody will look at you as a decision. Now the beams come in. If we have to yank, the hip will get dislocated. Who's going to take all these calls? I said, okay, get a vet. Now only a government vet has to come. You can't have a private vet in a rescue. We have to send a cab to the government vet, he is busy somewhere. If he takes 2 hours as a delay, this cow is going to die out of panicking. These are everyday situations which we handled from the last 15 years. I said, okay, forget all of these rescue, it doesn't make sense, let's get into conservation. I went straight, worked with Madras Crocodile Bank, did my courses there, went to Agumbe Rainforest Research Station, worked intensively on king cobra telemetry project. So it was a very simple research. We caught one king cobra in your house, put a transmitter, released it right behind your house. We caught another king cobra in your house, released that king cobra 20 kilometers away, wanted to understand, will they come back, what do they do, is relocation okay, is rescuing snakes okay. And the kind of stories we got, oh my God, again, I've killed more than 600, 700 snakes personally without knowing what to do. So before we rescue snakes in the city, we used to get a bolero sent from the forest department. We could name the sanctuary, Bandipur, Nagarole. They'll drive us all the way there and we used to release snakes. Okay, we did that for 3 years. Then we came back and we we ran this king cobra telemetry project. And every snake which was relocated 20 kilometers away, traveled 150 kilometers in 1 year, entered more than 10 houses, tried to cross road, and finally saving him. We were tracking, so he's in a house, we'll tell, don't worry, it's our snake, we'll pull it out. He's trying to cross the road, IAC researchers are waiting, saying, wait, one king cobra will cross the road. With all this protection, finally died. We did that for 6 snakes, all the 6 snakes died. The one which was not relocated, basically rescued from your house, released it right outside your house. My promise is, it's inside your house, I'll leave it outside your house. They only moved 30 to 40 kilometers a year with the perfect pattern. They knew where to go drink water, where to eat. And every time they came to your house, they knew it was threat. They went behind your house or they chose another path. So now we get 100 snake calls a day in Bangalore. Where are we going to release these snakes? 100 snake calls a day in BBMP limits. And when I say Bangalore, recent snake call was in Adarsh apartment, 7th floor. I always have my tears with elephants. I've stopped working with elephants because every time I go, I've cried and cried and cried and cried. And I stopped. I took an oath that I'll stop working with elephants when my favorite elephant died in BBMP limits called Ranga. I don't know how many of you know Ranga, Siddha, Mahalakshmi. So we were the first people to actually photograph Rowdy Ranga. And when I say photograph, nothing in a fancy, we had a phone photograph of Rowdy Ranga and Samandurga. And that lead to the beautiful research where, we started looking at bulls and elephants in urban wildlife in and around Bangalore as a city. He's called Rowdy Ranga by the people, otherwise he's just Ranga, who was a bull elephant. And what a smart guy, man, what a smart guy. From overnight, from Samandurga, he will come to KD Durga forest, cross Kanakpura road by Devikarani Rorich estate, cross Kanakpura road, walk through Mukodlu village, the whole of the village, and go to Bannerghatta National Park, look at the food, look at what's happening there, come back the next day, and will get his whole female herds which will follow him in the same path. He did that for 6.5, 7 years, and there was no conflicts. But if you mess around with Ranga, he is to be the bull, he created conflicts. So we had all of this data, we had got everything mapped, we had Arosha working, we had forest department working, we had a lot of people working, especially Sandeep GA, we call him Kurki, the elephant guy. He just finished and he gave his heart literally with the guards, monitoring where Ranga is going, telling and giving an update. Finally, we reached in such a stage that Sandy, if he's in Shanbognali, he knew that if I send a message to Shanbognali tower, whoever is in that tower will get an updated saying, Aane bandide. So finally, over a year of time, what we did is, in Muninagara, if the elephant is crossed, we will tell all the Muninagara farmers saying, don't worry, it is in Savandurga. So they could sleep for the next 5 days and they don't have to guard their crops. So all of this was happening, 7 years we balanced. Suddenly somebody, I don't want to say, made BBMP zone, Bangalore outskirts, as an elephant removal zone. They caught all 7 elephants, moved it to Kaziranga for elephant back tourism. All of them died. And if I tell you how they died, it's Ranga has worked 11 years running around in BBMP limits. He has crossed Kanakpura. He had a bus accident in Bandipur. How many will you believe? BBMP limited elephant. Siddha was stuck in that Manchinbele lake for 1.5 months with an injury in his leg. Why did nobody say that it was a bullet shot? These situations, you can't do anything. You have given your life and heart, but suddenly you see the paper, oh, elephant removal zone. Who has done it? No clue. Who's going to put a stay order? We don't know. Even if we put a stay order, why has it happened? You start digging and digging and digging and digging, you'll understand, man, it's nothing to do with the elephants. All that area is green belt. If you see Tumkur Road is well developed, if you see your Yashwantpura is well developed, Nelmangla is well developed. The only two roads which is left is Magdi and Kanakpura is all green belt. They can't do development unless and until it is converted into a yellow belt. So they made it as an elephant removal zone. We don't have any elephants around. No elephants left. You know, elephant is the only animal which can sense. It has been proved, which can sense for more than 100 kilometers and I can have a communication. Only animal in the world which can transfer Google data, road maps. So if there is a father and a mother elephant and if it has got a calf and both the mothers die, the parents die, the calf will follow the same footsteps of mother and father without even having them. They know exactly. That's why this whole elephant corridor is important because it's engraved. It can't be changed. So when Ranga died in Bandipur, trying to calm him down, trying to train, at night they left him out for grazing. It's apparently a bus accident happened. The same afternoon, Siddha died in Kaziranga. He just collapsed and died. They both were best buddies. Best buddies. That immediately happened. We got a call in Prani after 1 week on the day of Ganesha festival. I stopped celebrating Ganesha. The oldest female, Mahalakshmi, which was 48 years old, got electrocuted 5 kilometers from Prani and she also died. They had put the live, you know what farmers do? They take the live wire, put it on the ground for the pigs to cross over. Unfortunately, the elephant stepped in, completely electrocuted. She was the oldest female in BBMP limits. She passed away. Anyway, this is, I moved again from all of the forays and said, I just want to be with happy animals. And this is my thing with the biggest aviary. I was the first person to actually trust build. Even now, if you come to Prani, I have birds where they have full feathers. You go anywhere else in the world, they'll put a bird, you'll get a picture. Correct? Our birds have full feathers. If they want to take off, they can easily take off. Yeah, this is... Yes, they have to be in... There's a huge difference between a cage, an enclosure, and an habitat. These birds, their lifespan out of an enclosure is 5 minutes. They're non-native to India. They need to be kept in captivity. But if I get a crow, which we rescue, crows and kites, our first thumb rule is to make sure that even if I'm feeding a crow or a kite, I don't show love. This is another big issue with animal lovers. They'll find a rescued cow, they'll hold it in the house in Facebook, they'll be feeding it. That's equal to killing the crow. When we get a crow, no eye contact, we pack it, put it in a dark space, open a small thing. Even when I'm feeding, it's like this. We don't even look. We don't even have. Make sure there's no human imprintation. The crow should not think human is equal to food. Whereas if I want to do it to these birds, I make sure food enrichment is there. He comes in, he trust builds, only then he gets food. So with urban wildlife, it's completely different. With domestic, it's completely different. This is all, again, you guys need to decide. No, we don't know who's decided urban wildlife, exotic animals, table meat animals. I don't know where these laws came from. So I said, anyway, all of this doesn't make sense. Rescue doesn't make sense. Let me just go into captive management because I like my animals. I want to get up in the morning, touch an animal, feed it. So I went and bred crocodiles in Madras Crocodile Bank. We thought, wow, great. Captive management, everybody is against. No, I will do it because we are going to release these young ones back into their habitat. Such a beautiful idea. We raised about 3,500 baby crocodiles. Okay, so now all of that is going to go straight into the river. Perfect idea. We wrote to the department, hey, we have raised 3,500 crocodiles. You let us know where to release it. No. This is where we collected. We got the mother from here. Okay, so they sent me go do a lake survey, figure out what's happened. So I went in, they given a Google Maps, the GPS location, where they had collected one crocodile and one marsh hare and they had put it on a breeding, so the young ones had to be left there. I go and look around, it's a 10-acre paddy field. So that local guy has converted the river into a paddy field in 5 years. So the habitat itself is not there where we picked up the crocodile. So if you go to the forest department, hey, how did you pick up crocodile from a paddy field, man? They're like, yeah, it can't be found here. No, now look at Google Maps and Google Earth and figure out 5 years back there's a nice river, one nice channel going. Now on 10 guys have gone, extended, made it into a huge paddy field. So we are stuck with 3,500 crocodiles we don't know where to release. Now that has become a negative side. We have to raise funds to feed it. These males get into domination. They have been fighting. We have been getting reviews saying all half-eaten crocodiles, one crocodile tail is not there, one crocodile leg is not there. What is this captive management? They spoiled the whole concept of captive management in India. If I say one of these fish, a marshare, if you look at it, each fish lays about 10,000 to 15,000 eggs a year. Okay? And these eggs in the next 1 year will become 1 kilo each fish. Even if a farmer, somebody with a cast net or a besra gets one fish, it will act like a source of protein or it will give him 100 rupees. Correct? So now if there are 15,000 fishes selling at 100 rupees in the first year, imagine how many adult marshares are there. Do you know what they do right now? They take a big dispenser can, fill it up with all your biryani, old oil from the local guys, all of it, go dump it in the river, and they all come back. 8 hours, the river is flowing. The dispenser can will give all the kind of flavors throughout the river. All the fish thinks, oh, there's some food somewhere. They'll come all into that spot. They'll take a teppa, throw a dynamite. More than 15,000 fishes from this size to this size will die within seconds. And they will only collect this size, about 10 fish, which is the main source where it will actually, more than 15 lakh people are directly dependent on fishing in Kaveri. Direct dependence. They wake up, they cast, they get and they go. Direct dependence. The whole stock of fish is dead. And if you do a biodiversity impact study on that area, just for that area where you've dynamited, maybe as big as this hall, would take another 5 years for the whole flora, fauna, plants, everything to come back. Who are these? What are they called? Huh? Okay, then? Okay. Who said chicken? Okay. How many would say chicken? How many would say hen? What's the difference? Chicken is once on the table, once on the plate, it's called. Do you look at a cow and say beef is walking? This pure terminology language. So there's a hen and a rooster, but you ask anybody, it's chicken. I have got teachers coming and showing all their kids, come here, look at that white chicken running. Ma'am, hen. Chicken is on the plate. Hen, please say hen. So talking about this, again, recently during COVID time, we are struggling to run Prani. And of course, I had made all the calls to all my community friends who will give me money. And unfortunately, I made some calls to the Jain people also. They said, yes, they'll give me money. They landed up with 500 hens. All boiler hens. And they said, 5 lakhs, you rescue them. I said, ma'am, I know her. What will I do with boilers? I can't keep boilers. I feed my dog boilers. And 500 boilers, they can't walk, they can't do anything. How am I going to do it? She went so defended. Remove your board as a rescue shelter, I say. This is not life. I'm paying you money and you don't want to take care of 500 hens? This decision and situation I have been in every day. And then we realize that who the hell am I to take this decision? Who are we to say, okay, biryani mane? Who are we? Who made this law? Have you guys heard of camel of Shivajinagar? This was the craziest raid/rescue, and this was a life and death situation for a lot of us. 2010, we had camels during Eid. 15 camels got walked into Shivajinagar. Big peoples were there. MLA, he had won the MLA election. He wanted to gift 15 camels, saying, slaughter it, full Shivajinagar should have a party for Eid. So I said, camels are coming in, you got to do something. And we were all animal activists back then. That was my face saying, camel in front of me, it's not going to happen. Come on, boys, let's go. We were 15 boys. Landed up in Bada Kazana and Shivajinagar. Called the cops and said they can't slaughter camels. Man, 5 minutes, they say the mohalla changed. For the first time, I felt that. The whole mohalla changed. Okay, so we got an order copy that BC Ramchandra, who started Karuna and Cupa, who was also the dean in Veterinary College Hebbal. I told him saying, sir, you have to help me out. So he made a solid paperwork. He said camels have got soft padding and it can't enter Bangalore city because it's tar roads and we don't have sand. That will become cruelty to animals. That you are bringing a fish out of a water because it needs to be in sand, right? So it becomes cruelty to animals. That's why bringing camels to Karnataka itself is illegal. So we took that, ran to Justaya Venkatachala, make that into a copy. It went to High Court. Overnight, we had an order copy ready saying camels are illegal in Bangalore. Next day morning, back to Shivajinagar. Now we went to Kabban Park Shivajinagar police station and said, sir, order copy aa gaya. Now you have to come with us. There are 15 camels. He sent a Hoysala, we went, 15 camels we busted. I am walking with a camel in the front. I've got 2 Hoysalas in the front, those cheetah vehicles, no? 2 cheetahs vehicle at the back, and more than 50 guys in their RX popping wheelie, doing all of it. You said, you come out of this area, you come. And the cops coming next to me, what are you going to do? Where are you going to take this camel? You can't put them in a bus and take them, no. So we have to walk. And where are you going to take these camels? And you have made a law, walking camels on the Bangalore city is illegal. On your own law, you have done a seizure. Now you can walk the camels out. Huh? We said, no, we'll get lorries. Boys are not allowing lorries to come into Shivajinagar. Blocked. No lorries, nothing. We finally managed 4 lorries. Then I went to the camel keeper and said, boss, I need 15 camels in 4 lorries. That's itself cruelty. You get it? How are you going to put it? No funds, nothing, and the whole mall is changing. Finally, one friend of mine gave me an idea and it worked out so well. Of course, we had to make the camel walk, but not to a long distance. From Shivajinagar, back in those time, Kabban Park police station had horses and they had a stable. Right behind Kabban Park police station, they had horses to monitor and they had a stable. I said, that's a perfect place. Let's go tie these camels there. So all the 15 camels and some 300 people from Shivajinagar, we land up in Kabban Park police station. We tie up. The Anaya inspector came and said, you pack yourself and get out. Don't be seen in Bangalore for the next 10 days. So packed ourselves. We ran from the police station. We came back to Kanakpura. We were chilling. And of course, the camels did get seized. And somebody took a challenge that year in the crowd saying, every year we'll eat camels from now on. And that still happens. Of course, we don't allow camels to come in. Do you know what they do right now? They go to Nelmangla, outskirts, big camels come in, get slaughtered. Only the pieces comes in. And immediately after the Eid next year, they send 2 boxes to our shelter also. Yeah, fully fried kebab, biryani, 3 boxes, camel meat. What is the conclusion? I gave you multiple stories. I gave you multiple situations. So if you are doing into rescue, the first snake rescue was in 1980 when MK Srinath's pager buzzed. Now my phone call still gets 100. So there's no solution to it. You understand? Exotic animals. Every time I go to Shivajinagar and I have been telling, why you been putting all these lovebirds in a cage? Why have you put all these birds in a cage? It's illegal. Cruelty to animals. And I've always had a tiff with aquarium guys. Any area, if I go to an aquarium guy, na, oh juttu wala aaya, oh juttu wala aaya, that's how they treat me. He'll come, he'll chumma, usko ek 500 rupees de do, chale jayega. All my life I've been telling aquarium guys, this is illegal, you guys are doing. Suddenly India made aquariums legal, exotic animals legal. Ambani is coming up with the world's biggest zoo and my offer letter is still pending, 4 lakh a month. Why should I take this rubbish risk only to take care of snakes? I just want to go there and just forget everything and work there, man. He's saying, you name the snake, we'll get it. You name the snake. And he wants to open a school in captive management. He's saying India doesn't have anything in captive. Let's open the first school of captive. Makes sense. He's saying India has cheap labor, cheap land, best weather. So now again, exotic animal, coming back to my conclusion. I don't know, should I quit all my Prani and running calls, going and doing all, pulling cows from somewhere, giving the forest department some doka. I don't know, or just go work for somebody like Ambani. With Madras Crocodile Bank, we bet so many crocodiles, all are still there. Where are you going to go release it? That also doesn't make sense. If we say, let's collect all the rare species, breed them, release it back. Because you can't, why should we breed them and release it back? You can't do a population count. You or I or anybody has absolutely no data how many snakes are left in the world. How will you do a population count? For tigers, at least pattern you know. You click a picture, it's, they have a unique pattern, you can figure it out. For elephants, they have different patterns. For snakes, once they're in a burrow, they won't come for a month. For crocodiles, once in the water, so how many crocodiles are left in India? Nobody knows. Nobody has a clue. That's why we have to breed them. But now when we go there, there's a paddy field instead of a river. Table meat. Should I have rescued those 500 hens or not? Now the whole of Jain community doesn't want to come to Prani. But if I had those 500 hens at Prani right now, none of you would have come. Because it will be smelling like one, poultry there. And you'll all question, see how much money is making with all the hens. All of these are jabbed with steroids. They're built, they're human-made, they're not natural. Boilers are human-made. They're made to live for 100 days and die. But they have life, they have everything possible what another hen would want. Table meat doesn't make sense at all. Urban wildlife, domestic rescue. Again, I told you, there's no end solution. We have caught 9 leopards, we have worked with elephants, suddenly they made elephant removal zone. We have been catching snakes and releasing it somewhere. I know I've killed so many snakes. And it's always, when you go catch a snake, as I told you, full godly figure. Everybody, thanks. Well, you're releasing, you're always like, hey, bidla. Deepak will stand in that road. Literally, we're doing some illegal dande, man. Releasing snakes is such a mess in Bangalore. Because now I know data that I can't relocate it for more than 1 kilometer. Now, if you have caught a snake in Jayanagar, tell me within 1 kilometer, what is a suitable habitat for you to release? How many snakes are in Lal Bagh, How many snakes we have released in Lal Bagh, We broke a wall in the corner of Lal Bagh, and I swear it, I'm not even kidding. We broke, from that Ashoka pillar, there's one curve, that wall. We broke one wall, and we used to go release snakes there. This was part of forest department. Again, not illegal, guys. Suitable habitat and Thakpudi. Okay, suitable habitat. Research and conservation, first of all, no education background. Okay, fine. If not, I will be a field biologist. When there is absolutely no past data to compare with, you are the first person to collect data. And by the time your data is ready, the species would have got extinct in the present situation. It took us 9 years to make king cobra from schedule 2 to schedule 1. 9 years. Basically, the importance in the IUCN list, to give it a much more importance, took us 9 years of data. So now, where do you think you guys would fit in? What do you think is right? What would you guys do? My conclusions was Prani. Prani is something where, again, we have animals. Kids could come in. They can interact with animals. I just want to make sure that they understand what it is, so that they at least have a thought process to start with, saying, I can do any of this. And to be honest, all of it is right, all of it is wrong. All of it is right, all of it is wrong. So just Prani is the first space for kids or anybody to interact and understand all of these situations, saying this is what is happening right now. You take a call with your own head where you want to do, what you want to do. And because I have personal love for snakes, and I've been, all my presentation used to open with like, save snakes. I would never say that. That's the stupidest thing I would ever say, is saving snakes, because it killed 50,000 people in India every year. WHO has made snakebite as a neglected disease in India. Highest human and animal conflict. An elephant would not kill so many people, a tiger would not kill so many people, a bear, but you have subsidies for all of it. If an elephant has come and taken your ragi field, you have subsidy. If an elephant has come in Coorg, you have subsidy. If there's a bear which has come and eaten your jackfruit, you have subsidy. But if a farmer has a snake bite, it becomes a police case. It becomes an envenomation act. Why? Because they also do not have a solution to it. Antivenom is not the, you can say, just give antivenom to everybody. It's not like you're carrying, oh, you got snake bite, antivenom, I'm fine. It doesn't work like that. And why have they made it as a work hazard disease, WHO? 90% of them who are getting bit by the snake are not even seeing the snake. They're lifting something, they get tagged. So they don't even know it's a snake bite. Then finally, again, education and outreach. Try to take kids to Agumbe, try to take kids to captive management situation, try to take kids so that you create this multiple level of exposure for them to understand much deeper. Do I belong as a vet? Do I belong as an activism? Do I belong as somebody in captive management? Or do I want to sit on a table and actually change laws? All of it is important. And all of it should start from the same place, only then we'll be able to connect. Right now, Forest Department doesn't want to work with animal activism. Animal activism hates anybody eating meat. You understand? That conflict, if it happened, no. We'll never be able to reach anywhere. There are so much of unspoken knowledge and learning outcomes just being in the outdoors and animals. That itself is fabulous. Next. Okay, that's it. That's about what I wanted to say. I hope it made sense. Thank you, guys. Thank you.